ARMY, what really happened before the concert even started? Why were thousands of ARMY suddenly screaming so loudly that security guards looked completely overwhelmed? Did Suga accidentally create the wildest soundcheck moment Mexico has ever seen before the main stage lights even turned on? Stay until the end because this story is filled with shocking moments, emotional fan reactions, unexpected interactions, and details that made ARMY completely lose control. And if you love explosive BTS stories like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because what happened during this soundcheck left fans speechless long before the real concert began. Why did ARMY Mexico suddenly erupt into uncontrollable screams before the concert even started? Discover the emotional chaos, shocking reactions, and unforgettable moments when Suga turned a simple soundcheck into a night fans will never forget. The energy around the stadium in Mexico had already been building since early morning, but nobody expected the atmosphere to become this intense hours before the actual concert. Fans arrived carrying banners, glowing light sticks, handmade posters, and endless excitement, hoping to catch even the smallest glimpse of Suga. The streets outside the venue slowly transformed into a sea of purple as ARMY gathered together singing BTS songs, sharing stories, and counting every minute until showtime. Vendors nearby could barely keep up with the crowd while fans continued chanting his name over and over again. Everyone believed the real chaos would happen during the concert itself, but nobody knew the biggest emotional explosion was waiting during soundcheck. At first, the venue seemed calm. Staff members walked around preparing equipment while giant screens tested visuals across the massive stage. Fans inside the arena tried to stay patient, although the excitement was becoming impossible to contain. Every tiny movement behind the stage curtains triggered screams. Every flicker of light caused fans to stand up from their seats. The anticipation felt almost unbearable. Then suddenly, without warning, the lights dimmed slightly and music echoed softly through the speakers. The crowd instantly froze for 1 second before exploding into deafening screams. It was him. The moment Suga casually walked onto the stage for soundcheck, the entire stadium transformed into absolute chaos. Fans were not prepared for how stunning he looked in person. Dressed casually yet effortlessly charismatic, he appeared relaxed, confident, and completely unaware of the emotional damage he was causing simply by standing there. The screams became so loud that even staff members looked surprised. Some fans immediately burst into tears while others could not stop shaking from excitement. What made the moment even crazier was how unexpectedly playful he seemed. Instead of rushing through the soundcheck professionally and leaving immediately, Suga took his time looking around the arena, smiling at fans, waving repeatedly, and reacting to the overwhelming energy coming from the audience. Every small movement created another wave of screams. When he brushed his hair back with one hand, the entire crowd erupted. When he laughed quietly at something near the stage monitors, fans completely lost control. The emotional atmosphere inside the venue became impossible to describe. Then came the moment nobody expected. As the instrumental music played softly in the background, Suga suddenly walked closer to the edge of the stage and looked directly into the audience. Fans instantly began screaming louder than before, thinking he might say something quickly before leaving. But instead of speaking immediately, he paused. That small pause somehow made the entire arena even more emotional. Thousands of phones lifted into the air while ARMY desperately tried to capture every second. Then he smiled. That one smile changed everything. The screams became absolutely uncontrollable. Some fans covered their mouths in disbelief while others collapsed into their seats from pure shock. Security staff tried to calm sections of the audience, but it was hopeless. The emotional impact of seeing him this close before the concert even started created a level of excitement nobody could manage anymore. Videos recorded by fans later showed people crying loudly, shouting his name repeatedly, and hugging strangers beside them because the moment felt too overwhelming to process alone. And then the teasing started. Suga began casually testing the microphone while speaking a few playful words that instantly melted the audience. His deep voice echoed through the massive venue, causing another explosion of screams. Fans could barely understand anything because the noise level became insane, but that only made the moment even more chaotic. Every sentence he spoke felt like a direct attack on ARMY's emotions. At one point during soundcheck, he reportedly laughed after hearing how loudly fans screamed over a single greeting. That reaction only encouraged the crowd to become even louder. The connection between him and the audience felt incredibly natural, emotional, and powerful. Even without the full concert production, backup dancers, or dramatic lighting effects, he completely controlled the atmosphere with only his presence. What shocked many fans most was how attentive he seemed toward the audience. Several people near the front claimed he pointed toward handmade signs, reacted to fan messages, and even nodded toward specific sections cheering his name. Those tiny interactions immediately spread through social media discussions among fans inside the venue. Everyone was desperately trying to figure out who received eye contact, who got a wave, and who nearly fainted after he smiled in their direction. The emotional tension kept increasing because fans realized something important very quickly. If the soundcheck alone already felt this explosive, how intense would the actual concert become later that night? That terrifying realization spread throughout the arena. People began screaming phrases like, "We are not surviving tonight," while others cried from excitement knowing the real performance had not even started yet. The emotional atmosphere became a mix of happiness, shock, disbelief, and overwhelming anticipation. Even fans who usually stayed calm during concerts admitted this felt completely different. Something about the way Suga interacted with the audience during soundcheck made the experience feel deeply personal. Then another unforgettable moment happened. While testing audio levels, he briefly performed part of a song with noticeably stronger energy than fans expected during a normal rehearsal. The second his voice filled the arena properly, the crowd exploded again. Some fans instantly began crying harder because hearing him live before the official concert created a surreal emotional effect. His vocals sounded raw, powerful, and emotional enough to send chills across the venue. Even staff members working near the stage reportedly paused to watch the audience reaction because the screams became almost unbelievable. The most surprising part was how much fun he appeared to be having. Instead of looking tired or distant, Suga looked energized by the crowd itself. He kept smiling whenever fans screamed loudly and occasionally gave reactions that felt playful and teasing. Every tiny gesture instantly became a massive moment for ARMY. Fans analyzed his expressions, his body language, and even the way he held the microphone because everything felt meaningful. Outside the venue, the chaos was just as intense. Fans who could not enter the soundcheck area waited nearby hoping to hear even a small portion of his voice from outside the stadium walls. The moment screaming erupted inside, people outside immediately realized something major was happening. Videos online later showed crowds near the venue reacting emotionally simply from hearing the audience scream during soundcheck. Some people outside began crying despite not seeing him directly because the atmosphere itself felt historic. Inside the arena, emotions continued escalating as the soundcheck neared its end. Fans became desperate to hold on to every second because nobody wanted the moment to finish. Phones recorded endlessly while ARMY screamed his name with pure emotional intensity. The energy felt less like a rehearsal and more like a full-scale concert already happening hours early. Then came the final shocking interaction. Before leaving the stage, Suga reportedly turned back toward the audience one more time after beginning to walk away. That tiny action alone caused immediate chaos because fans thought the moment was already over. Instead, he gave one last wave and flashed another smile toward the crowd before disappearing backstage. The screams that followed were absolutely thunderous. Some fans were crying uncontrollably while others sat frozen in shock trying to process what they had just witnessed. Friends hugged each other tightly while replaying videos repeatedly in disbelief. The emotional damage caused by a simple soundcheck somehow felt stronger than entire concerts many fans had attended before. Social media immediately exploded with reactions calling it one of the most unforgettable pre-concert moments ARMY Mexico had ever experienced. And perhaps the most unbelievable part of all was this: the actual concert had not even started yet. That realization lingered heavily throughout the venue as fans tried calming themselves before the main show. But calming down was impossible. The emotional chaos created by Suga during soundcheck had already pushed the audience beyond their limits. Every person inside knew they were about to witness a night they would never forget for the rest of their lives. As darkness slowly covered the stadium later that evening, one thing became clear. Mexico was not simply hosting another concert. It was experiencing a cultural explosion driven by music, emotion, loyalty, and the unmatched connection between Suga and ARMY. And it all began before the concert even started.